We are going to be starting lying down on our backs, so you can get into that position when you're feeling ready. So the position that you will be in when you lay down on your back, it doesn't have to be anything specific. You might prefer to have the knees bent. They can lean against one another. You might prefer to have the soles of the feet together and the knees open. You might prefer to have the legs straight. You can sort of go big like a starfish. Any position that's going to feel comfortable for you and your body. And remember that this position can change. It doesn't have to stay the same. So when you're feeling ready, just allowing the eyes to close down. And as soon as you let those eyes close down, you might even naturally reach for a deep breath. You might not, but in the least, the elimination of our sight helps us to tune in to other things, sensations, other energies that are around us or within us. And as you lie here and begin to start your practice and your journey towards drawing a bit more attention inward, it's very natural for there to be distractions and this outward pull in the path of coming inward. This is very normal. And we'll often think that our yoga journey is just a straight line towards the thing that we might be working on, or the end result that we're looking for, or an overall feeling or sensation that we know our practice can give us. It's not always a straight line. It has lots of ups and downs, and so sometimes that means our attention and our energy is pulled away in the process of us trying to anchor it here in this moment and on your mat. So just now give yourself permission to be human, and give yourself permission to allow for your process to look and feel any way, rather than trying to attach to it feeling or looking a specific way, or like I said, that straight trajectory towards something. Allow there to be room, give yourself permission to feel into the fluctuations that might come up within your mind and your body, in your emotions and your energy. And really, you're giving yourself permission for your practice to be what it is going to be, rather than placing an expectation or the way you think it should be, and then not allowing for room for whatever might come up that you might not expect. So just now, as you're softening and relaxing here, you might even have this maybe a mantra or something that you like to repeat to yourself, or just to really allow that to sink in, such as I give myself permission for my practice to be what it is going to be. You might have something much more succinct. I accept my practice for what it is today. Something along those lines, just to give yourself permission. And really, when we pan out, we're saying that we accept ourselves. I accept me for who I am. And I accept this experience for what it is. And in those moments, we're setting the tone to surrender to what lies ahead, And therefore, we're allowing the doors to open up for our experiences to really flourish and for us to benefit from what we're about to do in our practice. So just continuing to be here in this position, making any adjustments that you need to. If you really found that that was quite powerful for you to have this mantra, then feel free to just continue to repeat that to yourself in your mind, or maybe out loud if you want to. And you can also choose to draw awareness to your breath as you do this, or instead of that. The breath can also be a way to create communication and deliver messages within the body. Really feeling into the whole body, beginning to relax its weight and its effort into the mat below you and into the support of the floor below you. And we'll specifically bring awareness into the feet, letting the feet relax as you become aware of them, into the hands. And this might prompt a bit of movement, and that's okay. Sometimes we can allow movement to then soften deeper into relaxation. And finally into the cheeks, the jaw, the mouth, through the forehead and the whole face, bringing awareness in any way that you need to. It could just be visual tools in your mind's eye. It could be feeling into each area, or it could be movement through the face before you then relax. Movement can release tension to allow for softness. Just a few more breaths here. Noticing, breathing, whatever else is coming up for you in this beginning phase of your practice. Feel free as you take the next inhale breath to allow any parts of the body to move. Maybe the arms begin to reach over the head and you start to come into a bit of a stretch. So this could be really big. Maybe there's a bit of a yawn, or there's a change in the way the breath is moving through the body. Perhaps there's movement through the ankles, through the wrists. You stretch up to the sides. Maybe you want to even work on drawing the knees in towards the chest, and a bit of movement through the legs in this way. So just take your time. We'll have about a minute here to just introduce movement into the body in any way that you would like to. You might also like the soles of the feet flat, knees open, and sort of windshield wiper the legs from side to side. So the choice of what movement you do, that's completely up to you. And remember that one movement is not necessarily more right while another one is more wrong. It's just kind of feeling into what the body is wanting right now. So maybe you just want to keep relaxing. Maybe you don't want to move yet. Just feeling into how the body is responding and where you want to go. Just a few more breaths with your own movement. You can circle the knees. You start to get a little bit more curious and explorative as you move in this way more and more frequently. Okay, we're going to allow the soles of the feet to come down towards the mat and just allow the arms to relax wherever they feel comfortable. Let's kick the right heel up into the air. We'll flex the toes towards the face. So just noticing how that feels for you, noticing if there is quite a strong stretching sensation that's occurring for you in the back of the right leg. You can always take the option of taking the hands underneath the buttocks if this gives you a little bit more of an ability to have the leg up there with ease. What this does is it tilts the pelvis. You can also pop a block or roll something up underneath the buttocks, and we're just still kicking the heel up towards the ceiling. Really flex the toes. And now while the leg is up there, feel free to point the toes and roll the ankle around in different directions. You can also choose to just keep that foot in one position the whole time. You don't have to move the ankle. So again, most things that we do are optional, and I really invite you to feel into what's working for you in each moment. And after you've had a bit of time to explore, we will come back to stillness through the foot. So when we draw the toes towards the nose in this way, we really encourage the leg to be straight. Now, if you have your hands underneath your buttocks and you absolutely need them there and you don't have any other props to use, definitely you can keep them there, that's fine. But if you can remove them, then we'll let the hands come out from underneath. We'll take that even further by taking the arms up into the air. We'll create a frame with the hands and draw the foot in the frame of the hands. It doesn't matter whether it actually moves or not, but the energy and the intention are there. So what we're imagining is that we're not moving the arms towards the leg, and we're also not bending the leg to get the foot in the frame of the hands. We're just imagining that with the straight right leg, we're encouraging the movement to come from the quadricep muscle itself. So this is creating opening through the back of the right leg, flexing the toes towards you, reaching those fingers. And for the last few breaths, if you would like to, you can use a gentle little encouraging pull with the hands. So whether that's down on the back of the thigh, the back of the knee, the calf, or towards the toes, but try not to have the hands do all the work while the leg goes passive. We want the leg to do the majority of the work while the hands are just encouraging. You also have the option to extend your left leg. You can have the left leg come further away from you or straighten it all together. Completely up to you. What we're looking for is that opening in the back of the leg. We're almost done here. Okay, and potentially relaxing through the lower back and the sacrum area, if that is available in your body. If not, it is okay if there's a bit of curling up, if that means you can have the leg a bit straighter. That's fine. Okay, so if that bottom left leg is straight, we'll allow the knee to bend, and from here, we're gonna allow the arms to extend out to the side. We're gonna tap the right heel down towards the ground. Just tap the heel and then inhale, bring it back up again. We'll do that 2 more times. So you might feel there's a lot of heat building in the right thigh and even in the right shin. Feel free to point the toes at this stage. If you need to relieve some of that contraction through the ankle, we'll do 1 more like this, tapping that down and coming up. And then from here, we'll hook the outside of the ankle on the top of the thigh, and then we'll allow the unit of the legs to drift over towards the left. So the sole of the right foot will come down, the outer portion of the left leg will come down, and then from here, feel free to turn your head over towards your right shoulder if you wish. Relaxing into the shoulders. Any position with the arms is fine. You might like a cactus arm. You might like the arms over the head. You might like to use your left hand to encourage the right leg to draw away from the torso. It has a tendency to lean in, and that can feel really good for the glute, but we're looking more for the outer hip, so we're gonna push that leg away. Try to relax and soften down, especially through the back of the hips, particularly through the back of the right hip there. Couple more breaths. And if the head is turned, we'll gently reposition the head. Now, before you draw the legs up into the center, I really want you to imagine that the trunk muscles is what are responsible for drawing the legs into the center. Rather than the legs just moving without any relation to the abdomen, imagine the center of the body moving the legs. So see if that makes a difference in the way that you lift the legs up. We'll let that leg release. You can give it a bit of a shake, and we'll swap sides. So bending both of the knees, soles of the feet flat, and we'll take the left leg up into the air. So again, your options here are you keep that right knee bent. Maybe it explores the heel coming away slightly, or you have that right leg completely straight. If you straighten the right leg and the left leg pulls away from you or the knee bends, then just bend that right knee again. The priority is doing whatever we can to get this left leg kicking straight up into the air with the foot flexed. You can also take the hands underneath the buttocks or perhaps roll something up or a prop. And we'll just allow exploration of movement through the left foot and the left ankle if you want. So again, it will be very normal for you to feel there's heat building up in the top of the left thigh and even through the shin. And then once you've had a bit of time to explore movement, we'll flex the toes. So the energy of the toes coming towards the nose encourages the thigh muscle to activate. And the reason why we want the thigh muscle to activate is because it helps to release the hamstring. This is called reciprocal inhibition. This contraction through the front and then opening and the release through the back of the thigh. Doesn't mean that you won't feel when you touch your hand on the back of the thigh that the muscle is being elongated. The tension will come as a result of that. But quite often when we bend the knee, you can actually feel the tension that's created in the hamstring because of that bend. And this will change depending on what position you're in with the hamstring stretching. But here we're just sort of looking for this really apparent activity occurring in the quadricep muscle. Now from here, we'll take the arms up into the air. Keep flexing the toes as much as you can. If you need to give them a break, definitely let the toes point, no problem. And see how it feels to flex them again without bending your left knee, without moving your arms, just imagining that you're drawing the foot in the frame of the hands. Again, you can always explore the position that you have with your right leg. You can extend it out further. If the hands are not working to take them off of the ground, then just remove them and put them down again. You can always just imagine the leg coming closer, but it's just that the frame of the hands kind of gives us a reference point. It gives us a bit of a goal and an objective, a place to extend and reach the toes towards. Keep breathing, relaxing into the jaw, and for the last few breaths, if you would like to use the hands to draw the leg in, you definitely can. But again, the hands are there as a support. Maybe they're 10%. The leg is still doing the 90%. So that way, if you were to release it, then the leg is not rebounding and sort of springing away from the position because it's working on its own ability to build strength within flexibility. And this is a very sustainable way to work on your depth. Last breath here. Feel free to let out a big sigh by the mouth. And then we'll bend into the right knee if the right leg has straightened. Allow the arms to relax. We'll tap the heel down. Feel free to point the toes whenever you need to. And lifting the leg up. And allowing the heel to come down. And lifting it up. We'll take two more like that. Allowing the heel to release and tap. Inhale, lifting. And last one. Heel to tap. And coming up. And then we'll externally rotate that leg, the outside of the ankle on the top of the thigh, and then the unit of the legs. So meaning it's like somebody's glued this outer ankle on the top of the thigh. We're not sliding the legs over, and we're just gonna allow the unit of the legs to drift over towards the right. And you can feel, I know for me, this side feels a bit tighter. So you might make adjustments according to how each side feels. That's really being present in your body. And you can allow, again, any shape or position with the arms. You allow maybe the head to turn in the opposite direction. So in this case, it'll be over the left shoulder. And you can maybe take the hand and use the hand to sort of work the leg away from the body if you wish. And again, we're trying to soften down through the back of the body, particularly through the left side and the back of the hips. Last breath or two. Seeing if you can just soften a little bit more through the hips of the back body. If the head is turned, we'll gently reposition the head. Allow the arms to come to a position that feels kind of anchored for you. Remember to move again from the middle of the body. It doesn't mean that we tense the core and then lift the legs up, but just imagine the middle of the body moving the legs up into the center. We'll take the left leg off, give it a little bit of a shake. Let's kick through the heels, flex the toes, and then reach the arms over. We'll interlock the fingers and push. Pushing through the palms, going for a nice big stretch here. And from this point, just hug one knee in towards the chest, and we're going to use that to sit us up, to come up to a seated position. We'll allow the feet to open nice and wide, right onto the sitting bones. Walk the heels in as close as you would like to, and then you can start to wrap the arms around the legs and open the knees as wide as you need to. You might have the fingers tap or interlace, or you might have them apart, and kind of shimmying the belly and the chest through the legs. We'll just work on a little bit of head movement here, lifting the chin up and lifting the chest tall. So in this position, there's really kind of I guess, an unnatural straight shape with the spine. Our natural straight spine is an S curve, so this is taking that away, and we're really coming into straightening out all the curves. And then we'll draw the chin into the chest, keeping, again, the spine straight and tall. So you might feel the back of the neck lengthening. And then from here, feel free to just come into a little bit of your own movement. So whether that's allowing the chin to shift and move from one shoulder over to the other, or you want to just allow the ear to tilt one side and then the other. So you're just exploring a bit of additional release through the back of the neck from this position. And if you have a block, you can always sit on a block in this modified squat here. Let's pause in the center, and we'll take the gaze up again, lifting the chin. And if there's any movement that you want to explore in this upright position, you can do that. Perhaps you just want to keep this length and extension as a held position, or maybe you want to explore. And feel free to allow full head rotations to come into play if that's feeling good in your body. Just your own movement and exploring of releasing through the neck. Okay, and then we'll come back into the center. From here, allow your feet to open as wide as you need to draw the arms in between the legs. From this position, we're going to really actively allow the fingertips to reach forward towards the top of the mat. And we're going to pause here. Now, you might have the heels come further away from you. That might give you more access to reach further forward. Notice how it feels when the heels are closer in towards you, or, like I said, you can sit on a block. So we're actively extending and reaching the arms towards the top of the mat. And then from here, whatever position you would like with your head. So you might like to have the arms reach while the head drops and hangs down. For me right now, that's quite a nice sensation, a strong sensation, but I can definitely feel the length occurring from my lower spine all the way to the crown of the head. You might prefer to have the neck neutral, or you might prefer to have the chin quite lifted. So one of those positions, and we'll find some calm, relaxed breathing. Make adjustments through the feet as you need to. This is going to create some release, definitely through the lower back, and that release can be exaggerated more and more depending on the position that you have of your head and depending on where your feet are. So you've got to try and figure that out for yourself in your body. What is the right position for you to feel length and to feel release? Now for the last few breaths, feel free to stay here, or if you'd like to drop the elbows down, you're more than welcome to, or maybe you just bend the elbows and let the head hang. So whatever you would like to do for the last few breaths. And we'll take an inhale to gradually uncurl. Excuse me, lifting all the way up. Lifting the chin at the top, and right from where you are, we'll lean back on the hands and we'll let the legs extend forward. Just lifting the chin, lifting the chest, fingers will face you, and we're just allowing the backs of the wrists to release. Maybe you're pawing the mat as you lean from side to side. Just allowing the chin and the chest to lift as much as feels good for you. And then we'll turn the fingers so they face back. And again, just pawing the mat, leaning from side to side here. Okay, and then we'll lift the body forward. So let's bend the knees again, soles of the feet flat. If you are on a block for any reason, just remove it out from underneath you. We're gonna work on just a little bit of core strengthening that would resemble similar to what we would do in our crow pose, since we're gonna be working on that today. So I want you to just push your hands, palms forward. Pushing forward, spread the fingers nice and wide here. From this position, we're gonna flex the right toes, and we're gonna see if we can hug the right knee up to, it might be the elbow for you, it might be the forearm, it might be up to the tricep, or it might be into the armpit. The point is that you're trying to work it as close in to your armpit as possible by squeezing the knee in and also pushing the palms forward. We're here for one more breath, squeeze and push, and then we'll let that foot lower down. Okay, from here, roll the wrists down, allowing the backs of the wrists to open, and then we'll try the other side. So pushing through the hands, palms, flex the left toes, push through the palms, lift the heel, lifting the knee towards the back of the arm or in towards the armpit. It might be the elbow. So wherever you're at, just try to inch it that little bit closer towards the armpit. 3. Pushing the palms, flex those fingers. 2, spread the fingers. 1, we'll lower that down. Allow that to round and curl in. So hopefully you should be feeling that there's a little bit of heat building up. Let's take the fingers interlocked and we'll just roll them around. I have a frog in my throat today. Letting them move around here. Okay, good, and we'll give them a shake. Let's do it again, each side. Pushing through the palms, flex through the right toes. Squeeze and hug that in, push, push, push. So just take note while you're doing this, the spreading of the fingers and the drawing back energy of the fingers towards you. Let's let that lower down. Again, roll. Maybe you just want to shake, 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 shake. That can feel good. Any of these varieties, you're just going to let the backs of the wrists open. Let's take the left side, pushing through the palms, flex the left toes, lift the knee up to the arm, and then squeeze it closer in towards the armpit, spreading the fingers, pushing through the palms. 3, 2, 1, lower the foot down. Again, whatever you want to do to open up through the wrists, give them a nice little shake here, and we're going to meet in a tabletop position. So however you would like to get there, go ahead, and we're just going to come into a little bit of stretching through the wrists. Let's take the right hand, turn the fingers back, and just pulsing. So you might have it come a bit more forward in front of you, and just some pulsing here. And it's good to go all the way back as well, so that you get that stretch into the palm, versus when you come down, it's kind of in the wrist. So the palm and the fingers will stretch more when you take the weight a bit more back. And we'll swap sides, turning the left fingers towards you. Maybe they come a bit further forward. So just always experimenting with where the body is positioned and seeing how that feels. Okay, and we'll turn the hands palms. So now they're both flat, tabletop position. Let's take a few cat-cow. So starting with the hips, the knees, the feet, vertically stacked. The hands are stacked under the shoulders and the knees are stacked underneath the hips. So let's start breathing in as you take your gaze up, filling up the lungs and looking high. Exhale. Start to draw your gaze into your belly as you push your palms and draw your pubic bone in. Inhale, belly is long. Eyes begin to lift as the lungs fill. Exhale, round the spine. Push the palms down, chin to chest, emptying the lungs. Last one. Inhale. Looking up. Eyes lift. Exhale. Now, as you exhale, squeeze your right knee in towards your right tricep or armpit. We're going to hold. Pushing down through the palms. Inhale. Take the right leg back. You can look forward or you can look up. Let's do it again. Exhale. Right knee towards the right elbow, tricep, chin into the chest, shifting your weight a bit forward. Inhale, take the leg long, lifting the gaze, and exhale, drop the right knee down. Let's come into one more round of cat-cow. So breathing in as the eyes lift, lungs full, and exhale. As you exhale, left knee squeezes in towards the left tricep elbow area. Inhale, take the leg back long, neutral with the gaze or looking up. Let's do it again. Exhale, round the spine. Left knee squeezes in, push the palms down, shifting the weight forward a bit, and then inhale. Take the leg back long, lifting up the gaze. Let's drop down through the knees. Drop the bum towards the heels. Knees will come together. Again, just a little bit of rolling around through the wrists. And then we'll take the arms out to the sides and create a fist, both hands. You're going to curl the fist in and just feel into that length and that stretch and release through the backs of the wrists. Then you can play around with dropping that down and feel into that release. You can play with turning that even more, internal rotation through the shoulders, feel into that. Then you can choose to just pick one spot that you want to stay in or continue to move around. So for me today, this position right here is really where I'm feeling the goods. So you pick a position that feels releasing and opening for you in the backs of the wrists. Keep squeezing the fist in towards the forearm there. Last breath. Okay, and we'll shake it out. Good. Let's come forward onto the hands. One more round of our cat-cow with me into the chest. We're gonna start this time with the right leg going back as you breathe in. So inhale, take the right leg back. Feel free to lift it as much as you would like. Exhale, right knee towards the right elbow. Inhale, take the leg back again, lifting the chin, chest. One more, exhale, knee to right elbow. We're gonna hold here, and you're gonna slowly then lower your right foot towards the right pinky finger. Feel free to walk the hands and walk the foot a little bit more to the top of the mat. We're gonna shift the weight forward and shift the weight back. And just keep moving a little bit like this, shifting the weight forward and back. Feel free to move your right toes as you wish. So you might have the right toes leave the mat as you shift back, and then they drop down again as you shift forward. We are going to finish with the shift back. So if you would like, you can walk your hands, flexing the toes if you wish, and just finding a few breaths. Now, obviously that leg is not directly in front of us, it's slightly out to the side. Use your hands in any position that you need to. Maybe that leg isn't even straightening, no problem. Just do the best you can with what you have. Keep flexing the toes for the last breath here. Okay, we'll lean forward, flatten the palms down. Let's see if we can come out of it the same way we went into it. So you're gonna push around the spine, exhale, squeeze the heel to the buttocks. And then just from here, we're gonna let the knee lower down. Let's reposition the hands, go into the left side. Left leg goes back, reaching the leg long. You can lift the chin, and when you're ready, exhale, round. Knee comes in towards the elbow or the armpit. Inhale, take the leg back. Lifting the chin, exhale again, round. Chin to chest, push down, and this time looking towards your left pinky finger to lower the left foot down, maybe walking hands and foot forward, and we'll go for a shift. So feel free to explore fingertips or palms flat. There's lots of different variations that we can take, and one day something might work for you, and the next day the body's not feeling it so much. So just being open, like we spoke about at the beginning of the class, being open to whatever the experience is for you, and not attaching to what you think you should feel or should be doing. Let's hold on the final back motion, walking the hands to where you need to. Typically, the closer the hands go in, the less you're going to be really requiring the hamstring to lengthen. So if maybe when the hands are in close to you, you really feel it, then you just keep them in. But if you're not feeling it so much, they can definitely come a little bit more forward. Flex the toes, relax the shoulders and the jaw. Breathe here. Okay, we'll lean forward into that left foot, flatten the palms down, shuffle that foot if you need to, and then squeeze. Heel to buttocks as you look back, and then lowering that knee down. From here, knees together, feet together. One more, opening up through the palms, squeeze the fist in. Now I have my thumbs on the outside, but you can definitely curl them in and see, does that feel different, better, worse for you? Curl that in, and then you can find a position that's working. I like my thumbs out. So just feel into where the opening is the most effective for you. It doesn't have to mean the most sensation. We often confuse those two, that we think that the effective stretch only comes in the form of what feels the most hurty or the most sensation, but that's not always the case. Okay, I'll shake that out. We're gonna come forward onto the hands, tuck the toes under, exhale to round the spine, and make your way into your first downward facing dog for our practice. Feel free to lift and lower the heels, bend and straighten the knees, coming into any movement through your downward facing dog that allows the body to feel a bit more open and free here. And gradually you'll want to feel into settling. So it's not just continuous movement the whole time. We want to feel into settling. The movement can really help us to find stillness, but we have to eventually find stillness. So see if you can continue your energy of finding that down dog position. You want to push your palms down. And this will kind of draw your shoulders towards your ears. This is great. This is really great. We want to create space in the shoulder joint, but we also want to come into this little rotation of the armpits slightly facing in towards one another. It's very subtle in the body. Allow the back of the neck to be long. Feel free to bend the knees. Feel free to have the heels leave the mat. Eyes open. Breathing normal. Pushing the palms down. Remember that your hands, they can be wider if you need to. They can be turned out more if you need to. One more breath. Let's breathe in. The right leg is going to go up. This is our three-legged dog, really kicking through the heel, pushing down through your hands and extending through the heel nice and long. And we're going to exhale, draw the right knee to the right tricep, holding and shifting the weight forward. Let's take it back. Inhale, take the leg all the way back, three-legged dog. Let's do that one more time. Exhale, knee to the right tricep, and we'll do the same thing like we did when we were on the hands and knees. Lower the right foot down towards the pinky finger of the right hand. And maybe you're up on your fingertips, make any adjustments that you need to, and we're just gonna work to shift the weight forward. And then we're gonna work to lower the back heel down. It can be at an angle, and work to straighten the front leg. Let's do that again. Lift the back heel, bend the front knee, shift your weight forward. Drop the back heel down, walk the hands to straighten the front leg. Doing this a few more times. Lift the back heel, shifting the weight forward. Walk the hands, drop the back heel, straightening the front leg. Do this one more time. Lift the back heel, walking the hands forward. Drop the back heel, walk the hands. Now we're going to pause here. Now because we have that right foot quite far to the right, let's gently walk the foot in. Now this is quite a wide step. Now the options that you have are to just keep a bend in your front knee. That's totally fine. You can use that to gradually explore more depth. You can also take your elbow on your knee and use that to explore a little more depth with the activation of this front leg straightening. Okay, you can also, if you have props, put your hands on the props to lift you up. But again, the front leg, it's gradually, slowly straightening. So it's fine if the hands are down, and then over time, you're working on straightening the front leg. Now, straightening doesn't mean pushing the knee into the joint. We just mean pulling the thigh muscle up so it's actively straightening the front leg. Coming towards the end here. Okay, let's bend into the front knee, lift high on the back toes, walk this right foot to the outer edge of the mat, plant down the hands. We're gonna come out of it the same way we went into, so shift your weight forward, sweep your heel, and then kick back, three-legged dog. From here, lowering the foot down, find your position for downward facing dog again, readjusting where you need to, bounding your energy down through your hands, rebounding, tail is lifting, then shift the weight off the left foot, left leg goes up. Kicking through the heel, remember the right heel can still stay off the mat, that's fine. Exhale, left knee into armpit or tricep, shifting forward. Inhale, take the leg back, pushing through the palms. Again, exhale, draw the knee in towards the back of the left arm, then look to the left pinky and lower the foot down. Good. Maybe on the fingertips, and we'll work to shift forward. And then drop the back heel as you start to straighten the front leg. Again, shift forward, lift the back heel. Drop the back heel in as you shift back. Now, if this back heel business is kind of confusing for you, then you can just keep that back heel down the whole time. When you shift forward, if you don't want to lift it, you don't have to, but this can be quite a big stretch for the calf as you come forward, and it might not feel so good on the ankle, so feel free to let the foot do what is right for you. One more like this, maybe the hands walk as well. And then we're gonna find that left foot in the center. So when I say in the center, you don't have to have the heels exactly lined up. You can if you wish. We also have the option to have them slightly off to the side, just like we would stand, kind of in alignment with our hips a bit. Yeah, and then from here, you're just working on coming into straightening this front leg little by little. Again, the straightening of the leg isn't happening because we're pushing the joint back. It's happening because we're gradually contracting the thigh muscle, and this creates length in the back of the left leg. This is quite a wide step. So again, you can use support if you need to, maybe elbow on the knee. Maybe you have some props. Maybe the knee is quite heavily bent and you're just gradually working on straightening it. Relax into the jaw. Breathing into the body. Last few moments here. Okay, we'll lift high on the back toes, bend in the front knee, gently walk the foot to the outside, flatten your palms down, lean forward to swipe the heel to the back of the left leg, kick back, three-legged dog, and then from here, lower the left foot down. From this position, we're gonna walk the feet to the top of the mat, and when you walk the feet, allow the hip to lift, which creates space between the foot and the mat. Bend your knees when you need to, and coming to the top of the mat. We'll allow the head to really hang down. Let the back relax and go long. Maybe give it a bit of a shake through the head. Soft and releasing through the back body little by little. And we'll start to gradually come up, breathing in. To come all the way up, take your time. Lifting the chin, turn the palms, and exhale. Let the arms relax down. Okay, so we're going to take the weight off of the left foot, and the left foot is going to go to the back of the mat. So this is really what we have just done, except for instead of going from downward dog into this big wide shape, we're now going to step the foot to the back of the mat. And we're just going to repeat that a few times, adding a different layer and a different element each time. So let's draw the palms into a prayer position at the chest. You want to make sure you are right at the top of the mat so you have room to take the left leg back. So we'll shift the weight onto the right foot. And now remember when we did it last time, we had the right foot out to the right and then we walked it in towards the center. So you have room to play with where you want that right foot to be. Again, your feet don't have to be exactly in alignment. You can have one foot a little bit more over if that feels comfortable when you step back, okay? So let's go ahead and shift the weight to the right leg. And here, we're gonna kick back through the left leg. And you're gonna bend into your front leg and reach your left leg back as far as you can until you feel the foot lower down. So it's that nice controlled landing. And then from here, we're gonna come down and we're in the exact same position that we just did before. Maybe you need to go slightly wider. Maybe you need to go a little bit more narrow. Maybe you stay up in prayer or you keep the hand on the knee. But we want that step to be quite wide so it's easier for us to let the body release to the ground with the hands. And again, the front knee, it might stay bent, but you're attempting to create a little bit more active lengthening into that leg. Or you might have the leg straight already. Long through the spine. Now, if you have the leg straight, but the spine is rounded because of that, then you might want to just let that go so the spine is a little bit longer here. Couple of breaths. Okay, from here, maybe a little bend in the front knee if you haven't one already. Inhale, lift the chin, chest, palms in prayer, coming all the way upright. Now we're gonna have to take a big step to the top of the mat to go into the other side. So you might lean a little bit forward, lift your back toes off the mat, get a little bounce going to then step to the top of the mat. Okay, let's try the other side. Shifting the weight over into the left leg, and you can tilt the body forward, reach the right leg back long. So you kind of want to resist letting the foot lower down until you've reached as far as you can, then you can let that foot lower down. Feeling into your alignment, seeing what works for you, long spine. So you might choose to have the leg actively straight the whole time, and perhaps you just pause there. You might choose to bend the knee to get the hands down, then try to actively straighten the leg while the hands are down. So there's a few different options for you, but again, we are looking for length in the back of the left leg. And remember, sensation doesn't always mean that you have the most depth occurring or the most benefits occurring in the body. So just be mindful. The breath should still be calm, relaxed. If you do have the front leg pretty actively straight and the spine is quite long, that's when you can work on bending the elbows to let the body go down the length of the leg. But be mindful of your hips. Our tendency is to let the back hip shift open, or sometimes we do the opposite where we come too far forward. So just being mindful of those hips. The last few moments here. Okay. Let's inhale. Push down through the front foot to help you come up, up, up. And then from here, we'll lean forward to lift high on the back toes, a little bounce and a little loading up of the spring to step to the top of the mat. Okay, good. From here, I want you to push your hands, palms down towards the ground. You're gonna start to draw your back of the arms towards the knees and the thighs. So you might start at the wrists and you're gonna slide down. Bend the knees, no problem. Slide down, slide down, slide down. So what you want to do is feel your hands, palms go flat. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see me. Feel your hands, palms go flat, even if they're quite far forward. Now, sometimes we need to bend the knees a lot to allow the hands, palms to go flat. And I just want you to feel into this leaning energy of the knees into the backs of the arms. Leaning energy. So just keep rocking yourself forward and backward. Trying not to let the knees shift to the outside of the arms. Leaning forward and backward. Just a few more little tilts. Just getting comfortable with taking weight towards the hands with the knees in this position. Let's allow the heels to lower down. Inhale to come all the way up, drawing the hands, palms into a prayer position. Let's do the whole thing again. Shift the weight to the right leg. The left leg going back, long, long, long. Feel the toes reach all the way to the back of the mat. And from here, allowing the body to come over the leg. So again, you can pause. You can have the hands on the knee. Now, by now, you should feel that straightening into this front leg is becoming more and more accessible in the body. It doesn't mean it might not still be bent. That's totally fine. But again, even if it's bent, there's still this activation occurring through the quadricep muscle. Pausing and breathing here. So from this position, we're going to come into a balance on the front leg. So we'll lift high on the back toes. If you're still upright and your hands are not on the mat, go ahead and bend into the front knee to lower your hands down now. Shifting your weight forward, take the back leg up into the air as high as you would like. Now, as the leg lifts, you want to feel that it allows your body to lower and drop down. Let the back of your neck go long, and you can choose to take the next few steps as you stay here, or you can just remain exactly as you are. If you would like to add a layer, take your left hand and place it beside your right foot on the inside. If you would still like to add a layer, take your right hand and work it behind your right leg, holding here. Breathe into the body. Stay. Leg lifts high. And then slowly allow your hands to come forward to support you. You're going to drop both feet down to the mat and then let the body hang and release. Let's uncurl to come all the way up. Take your time. And exhale at the top of the mat, drawing the hands palms together. Shift the weight over towards the left leg. The right leg goes back long, long, long. Reaching the toes towards the back of the mat, lowering that down, and then widening the step if you need to, coming forward. So what typically happens is this right hip pulls open as we come forward. But what you want to try to do is draw the right hip forward and pull the left hip a little bit back. So you can either pause upright, or you can lower the hands down to feel into the lengthening of the leg, keeping the back of the neck long. And actively lengthening this right or left leg. Okay, we'll come into our balance. So we'll lift high on the back toes. Shifting your weight forward with your hands. Inhale, take the back leg up into the air. You can flex the right toes or point them, it's up to you. But you want to continue this energy of the leg reaching up. Now stay in this position or add a layer. Right hand can go on the inside beside the left foot. Stay there or add a layer. The left hand can wrap around the back of the left leg. Now remember that this is an external force with the hand pulling you, so be mindful. Keep actively trying to engage your left quadricep muscle. Right leg reaching high, 3. Long spine, 2, and 1. Releasing through the hands, allowing your right foot to drop down beside your left foot. Feet can be hip width distance. Let the head hang and we'll uncurl. Take your time. Allowing the palms to turn forward. Lifting the chin. And let's exhale, push down. Again, sliding the knees along the inside of the wrists. Sliding the knees along the inside of the elbow, or the back of the elbow, rather, the back of the tricep. Bending the knees, leaning forward to feel the hands drop. Then, shifty, shifty. forward and back, forward and back. So we're gradually getting ready to do our crow, but we've worked only with straight arms so far, and that's a very challenging version of crow. So we will be doing bent elbows eventually, shifting a bit more, just feeling into that. Okay, and letting the heels flatten, letting the head hang and the body drop. Uncurl to standing, breathing in. We're going to do this one more time. From here, again, turning the palms forward. When you're ready, lift the chin. Exhale, flat palms. Bend the knees. The knees along the wrists, along the elbows. Now this part might be quite challenging for you. And then flattening down through the palms. And then again, leaning forward. Now if you wish, you can try to take a bit of weight off of one foot as you lean forward, then drop it down again. And then another foot, drop it down. It can just be the thought of taking weight, or maybe even your pinky toe lifts. Okay, good. From here, let's step back, downward facing dog. Tail is lifted. Hands are really pushing down. Pushing through the palms to feel length in the whole body from the fingertips towards the heels. And let's take the right leg up, three-legged dog, breathing in. Let's draw the right knee towards the right tricep like we have already done. And then we're gonna slide the knee in the middle and drop the foot down in between the hands. From here, that back heel is gonna drop on the inside, which means you might have to walk your right foot slightly out to the right. Again, let's do this one last time, straightening into the front leg and allowing the body to lengthen down, but still forward. So the thing is that when we get more and more into depth, and depth in this position would typically be considered as the body going down, we still want to engage in the elongation and the forward energy of the spine. Breathing here. Let's lift onto the fingers, lift high on the back toe. Drop the back knee down to the mat, untuck the back toes if that feels good for the knee, and shift the weight back. Flex the front toes. And we'll just find some stillness here in this position. Feeling the spine and the heart going forward to the top of the mat. Now, if you would like to stay here, you're more than welcome. If you would like to use your hands to slide your foot forward, you can do that as well. You can come into your splits. Now, splits is just attempting, right? In order to do splits, we don't need to actually be fully down, but we have to try to allow the leg to extend a bit more forward. So you can definitely just stay in this half split position, but I would suggest just a little bit of a slide, just a little bit of the heel coming forward. Doesn't have to be a lot in order for you to start the process of trying. So up to you. Flexing the front toes. Again, this is optional. Okay, so we're going to slowly lengthen out of this, flattening the front foot down, lean forward, palms plant, lift the back knee, and just step back into downward facing dog. We're going to come into the other side, so taking the left leg up as you breathe in, Exhale, knee comes towards the left elbow, tricep area. Then slide the knee in between the hands and lower the foot down. We'll drop the back heel down, make adjustments through the alignment of the feet, and then we'll come into, again, the active lengthening of the front leg. Be mindful of the hips. You can always take a look at them. And this is another thing. If our back toes are turned out directly to the right side, it's very hard to have the right hip come forward. We often end up torquing that knee. So turn your toes slightly in so the right hip comes down and forward towards the top of the mat. And then you can work into that length. Okay, we'll lift high on the back toes. Bend the knee, drop the knee down. You can untuck the toes and then shift the weight back to flex the front toes towards the face. Lifting the spine up nice and tall, feeling that length, toes to the nose. Now, if you wish, you can slide this forward. You can slide the back leg back and just see where the body is at. We often think of these certain poses as being unobtainable because we think of ourselves as being able to do the full version of the pose. But as long as we attempt and we try to perhaps explore depth that's maybe even a few inches beyond where we would normally be, then that is going to be perfect and appropriate and super beneficial to start the process of moving forward. But we don't have to do the whole thing in order to receive the benefits. Okay, let's slowly come out of this. Flattening the front foot, you're gonna lean forward, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, squeeze the heel to the buttocks, kick back, three-legged dog, and then we'll lower the foot down. From here, we're gonna walk the feet in towards the middle of the mat, open up the feet, turn the toes out, bend the knees, and then squat down here. So from this squat position, feel free to allow hanging, lifting, twisting, whatever you want to do. Okay, so just a bit of your own time to work on your own movements. And we're finishing our sequence with the crow. So we won't get into it quite yet. Like I said, you have a bit of time to do what you'd like to do here. And this is where we will work with bent elbows in the crow, unless of course you would like to do straight elbows. That's up to you. It's quite a challenging version. And using the bent elbows to create a shelf is much more attainable. It's easier for the body to comprehend this type of thing. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. So from here, flattening down through the hands, palms. If you need to do any flicky stuff, go ahead before we get into this crow. So we're gonna take some little preparatory movements before we get into some deeper stuff. And at any point, you can continue to go on in your own direction, or you can take a break. Totally fine, okay? So we're gonna lean forward to the hands, and from this point, you wanna allow your knees to lean forward towards the wrists, okay? And then I just want you to shift back. Do that 2 more times. Knees dip down towards the wrists, and then we'll shift back. Doing that 1 more time. Knees dip down and forward, and from here, look into your belly, lift your hips up, and now you're in your forward fold. We're gonna draw the feet together. And typically coming into this, if you can, big toes together is going to really help to feel into any lift that might occur through the feet. So let's bend the knees, Now you can start down low in a squat if that's what you want to do, okay? Hands, palms flat. But eventually you will have to get your bum lifted enough to get your knees onto the shelf. The shelf is right here through your tricep or your armpit. So lean forward, lift your tail up, and then we'll bend the knees towards the triceps. You might need to readjust by walking your hands in closer. Bend the elbows towards the shins, and now you've got a shelf. So you have a shelf between the knees and the triceps. The elbows will bend, and this is where you just practice rocking forward and rocking back. Rock forward, rock back. Keep going. Rock forward, rock back. Shifting the weight. Now, as you do this, feel free to lift, maybe again, pinky toe or one whole foot off the mat. Pinky toe and the other foot off the mat. We're going to do this rock about 5 more times, so if you want to hold as we do this, you can. You might like to lift the heels to the buttocks. Now, if you're still rocking, you can just keep rocking back and forth. Okay? If you're lifting the heels to the buttocks, squeeze the big toes towards one another. You just want to get comfortable with the shelf. Keep your tail high. Look forward. Get comfortable with leaning forward. Maybe you've got one more rock or two in you. Just feeling that shift. Feeling that weight. Okay. And then we'll come out of this. So from here, however you'd like to get there, we're going to sit down onto the buttocks. We're going to let the legs go forwards, give them a bit of length, and let them bounce. We'll take some windshield wiper action with the legs. So bending the knees, feet flat, and allowing them to move side to side. So eventually, with the crow, you start to just get comfortable more and more with taking your weight forward into your hands. And it's not so much about how can I lift my feet, but it becomes how much do I shift my weight forward, which then automatically takes the feet off of the mat. And it's just getting comfortable with going forward. And that comfort will come from repeating the movement and the gradual buildup of strength and the position that you get with the shelf, the knees onto the triceps. Okay, and we'll come back into the center. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. And you can have the heels quite close in. You can have the heels quite far away, more like a diamond shape. So you can find that right position for you. And we're just going to come into a little bit of rolling through the spine. So we'll pull the chin to the chest, come down. Once you come down, bring your chin forward, lift up. We'll do that a few more times. Now, if you'd like to keep going like that, you're more than welcome to. If you would like to find a spot where you want to stop and stay, then you can do that. So stillness or continuous movement. And we're going to gradually come upright. I'd like you to find a seated position that works for you. So whether that's legs crossed, sitting on the mat, or sitting propped up on a block or a bolster or a rolled up towel or something. or you can kneel. Kneeling works as well. And you always have the option, if you want to lay down, that's totally fine. Your choice. But if you're wanting to do that seated closure of your practice, then you can stay seated. So just allowing the hands to find a position that is comfortable for you, whether that's palms up, down, folded, prayer. And we'll let the chin lower down and we'll let the eyes close. I'm just going to have some time to be still and silent here. As you continue on in these final moments of your practice, just take some time to reflect back on your experience. Maybe taking just a very quick note of how things might have felt differently, how things might have not been what you expected, and then how you responded to that. Perhaps you were able to really create space and an opening for yourself and your experience the whole time. Maybe there was areas of resistance. Just feeling into the responses or the reactions that might have come up for you. And then reminding yourself of that acceptance, of surrendering to the experience, of really letting go of what something should be, or any expectations of what something might look like based off of a preconceived idea. And instead really feeling into just full acceptance for your experience and for all the capacities in which you were able to be present in your practice. Giving yourself this acknowledgement, acknowledging the space that you're in and your ability to have a space where you can move and breathe and connect to all these different parts of yourself. Being grateful for that space. And anything else or anyone else that you'd like to tack on to the end of this little mini gratitude session. And just feeling that sink in and allowing that acceptance and that appreciation to permeate to other people and other areas in your life as you go about your day. Thank you so much. When you're ready, you can allow the eyes to open if you wish. Thank you so much for joining me in this practice. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you soon.